Father Abraham is the father of the Jews as well as the Arabs. But the Jews have been looking down upon the Arabs for 3,000 years, that these Arabs are Hagarenes. In the literature they call the Arabs Hagarenes, means the children of Hagar, Bibi Hajara. And Islam, they say, is Hagarism. The religion of the children of Hagar, of the Arabs. Hagarism. These are the titles they give us, the Jews, our cousins. And yet this man, Muhammad, is honoring a Jewess to the skies. Amazing. It's unbelievable. You can't believe. I said, if Muhammad did that job, why did he do such a thing? It's a silly thing, wallah. It's a silly thing. He's offending the Christians. And he's offending the Arabs. The Arabs, naturally they feel that another Arab woman might have been a likely candidate. Not his own mother, Muhammad's mother, not even his mother, not his wife, not his daughter. When we believe that his daughter Fatima will be the leader of the women of paradise. But no, even her name is not mentioned in this book. Her name is not mentioned. Muhammad's mother's name is not mentioned. Not a single of his wife's names are mentioned. Amazing, this book. So people get puzzled. You see, when they get a book like this, you present them, they are looking for Muhammad, his family history. And you don't find it. You wonder, who is his father? You know, his father's name is not there. You don't know where he was born. It's not here. Do you know that? Who was his father? Who's his mother? Where he was born? Where he died? Nothing. Nothing at all. Why? Jesus, his enunciation, the good news, is described in 2 places in the Quran. 2 places. Muhammad's birth is not mentioned at all. Muhammad is mentioned 5 times, Jesus 25 times, Moses 136 times. No. This is a very amazing book. The Westerner, see, he just can't seem to grasp. He is looking for a book. We'll tell him once upon a time. He's used to once upon a time syndrome. Everything must be once upon a time, once upon a time. He's looking for once upon a time. And this book is not a once upon a time. It is not. It is a very concentrated book. Therefore, you need an index. And the topics that tickle you, my brothers and sisters, you look up those topics that will make interesting reading for you. Get it. Get it as soon as possible, this book. So now, we Muslims are made to believe that Jesus is one of the mightiest messengers of God. That he is the Messiah, the Messiah. Translated, Christ. And in verse 45, we started with 42, 45, it says again, وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمُ, behold, the angel said, O Mary, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُبَشِّرُكِ بِكَلِمَةٍ مِّنْهُ, that Allah gives you glad tidings of a word from him. The Christians say, Jesus is the word of God. The Quran says, a word from him. Ismuhul Masih, his name will be the Messiah, Christ. Masih in Arabic, Messiah in Hebrew, translated into Greek, Christos. And Christos is too much a word to say, so they cut off the os and left with Christ. Christ means the anointed one. Messiah means the anointed one. Masih means the anointed one. They all are trying to say the same thing. Ismuhul Masih, who Isa ibn Maryama, Jesus the son of Mary, wajihan fi dunya wal akhirah, held in honor in this world and in the hereafter. Wa minal mukarrabin, and of the company of those nearest to God. The Christian says, Jesus is sitting on the right hand of God. The Quran says, he's in the company of those nearest to God. We tell our Christian brothers that, look, we accept what you say. He's sitting on the right hand of God. But not geographically, not physically. Because God is not a physical being sitting on a huge throne. And Jesus Christ sitting on his right hand side on a stool. No, to me it makes no sense. This Almighty who permeates the whole universe, on beside him a little flea, a termite, what is it? An atom. You know, and what can I describe? A small piece of bacteria, you know, on a stool. Does it make, what honor is this? No. I say, we Eastern people, when we speak about the right hand, we mean a place of honor. My right hand man, is not necessarily sitting on my right-hand side. He can be sitting on my left-hand side. He can be sitting behind me. He can be in front of me. My right-hand man. I mean, anything I want to discuss, I have a problem, I want to consult, I consult my right-hand man. But my right-hand man will be sitting on my left-hand side. No, no. This is the figure of speech to say a person, a position who occupies a very important position in my estimation. That's what it means, right hand. So we say right hand, yes. Sitting on the right hand of God, not physically, not geographically, but in status. He doesn't have to sit on the right hand side. So now these are difference of seeing at the same thing through different light. You don't have to accept our interpretation. They don't have to. But you say, now look, this sounds more reasonable to say that he occupies a very, very important position. And وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ, he will speak to the people, فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَحْلًا, in childhood and in maturity, وَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, and he shall be of the company of the righteous. This is Jesus. He will speak in childhood and in maturity, and he will be in the company of the righteous. This is again confirmed in the Quran. The statement is made in chapter 3. In chapter 19, it's being confirmed. That he spoke to the people as an infant in his mother's arms. The very first miracle of Jesus in the Holy Bible. You find that in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 2. That Jesus and his disciples and his mother were invited at the marriage feast at Cana. Cana is the name of the place. Marriage feast at Cana. The very first miracle of Jesus, according to the Holy Bible. He is invited at the marriage feast at Cana, and the people run short of wine. So his mother comes to him. John chapter 2, I'm reading to you. His mother comes to him and says, son, look, these people have run short of wine. I know in the back of our minds, I know you got mysterious powers, you can help them to solve the problem. This is the plea made by his mother. And Jesus responds. He says, woman, what have I to do with thee? Woman, what have I to do with thee? My time is not yet. Now, if you don't want to do a job, man, there's a nicer way of telling your mother, says, Ma, look, I'm tired, leave me out. You don't have to address your mother as woman. That's the word is used for a prostitute. No. This same book now, the word woman he uses for a prostitute. That woman caught in the act of adultery. In the Bible, you read John chapter 8. A woman. So the Jews bring this woman to Jesus. They said, Master, we caught this woman in the act. What must we do to her? Actually, they're trying to trap him. They're not looking for an answer. If he says, let her go, man, they say, this man is not a man of God. Look, the book of Leviticus, in our Torah, it tells us that the adulterer and the adulteress must be stoned to death. Is he a Messiah? Can he be the man of God? He says, let her go. He's rejected. If he says, stone her, they'll kill her. And adultery was not a capital crime in the Roman Empire. So they catch him. I said, why did you kill this woman? He said, our Messiah says so. So he's bitten the devil in the deep. He's in conflict with the government, the laws of the state. Either way he loses. Heads I win, tails you lose. So what does he do? He's also a Jew. Look, these are Jews, are geniuses. I'm telling you. No, they are our cousins. They always beat us, you know that. They always got one on us. You go into an agreement that, we resolution was a 342 or 424. This is now they're going to let go the occupied territories for peace. Occupied territories. So now they said, right, we move this for you to implement your part of it. He said, no, you haven't